By daybreak, the rumors that had begun late last night had grown into a full-fledged conflagration. Rap icon Remy Ma and boxing legend Claressa Shields have been at odds for months. But no one realized how far their animosity went until recently. Claressa finally broke her silence in an uncensored, emotionally charged moment, and the words she used have caused a complete uproar on the internet. Fans are referring to this Instagram Live as the most shocking celebrity moment of the year, because it is so unvarnished and brutally honest. No carefully crafted PR spin, no pre-written news release, just unadulterated, unfiltered rage erupting in real time. In the midst of it all, Claressa utters the shocking words, "She crossed the line." These 3 words have caused a chain reaction that has never been seen in the history of the hip-hop and sports industries. According to those close to both ladies, this is personal and not simply about industry politics or small-time scheming. Rumors are circulating about confidential discussions, unreleased private video, and a betrayal so well-planned it's difficult to believe. With hashtags sprouting, celebrities chiming in, and followers demanding answers, social media is already divided. The problem is that Claressa didn't tell the complete story on that live stream. No one appreciates how much more hazardous, messy, and horrible the real truth is. And what follows might permanently alter both women's lives. You could practically feel the electricity in the air when Claressa Shields pressed the Go Live button. Comments flew so quickly that they blended into a wall of mayhem as thousands of people poured into the stream in a matter of seconds. Her voice was calm and steady at first, but beneath it was a keen edge, the kind of controlled anger that makes you lean in because you know the explosion is about to happen. She didn't waste time making small talk. She started by saying, "I've been silent for too long," her gaze fixed on the camera as if she were looking straight into the hearts of all those in attendance. "And I believe it's time for people to realize the truth." Social media was thrown into overdrive by that one sentence alone. Before she had finished her story, screenshots began to appear on Twitter feeds. Even before Claressa mentioned her name, people were tagging sites, saying things like, "Oh, this is about Remy," and dropping fire emojis. And then she did. She spoke slowly, as if the words themselves were poison that she had to spit out. "Remy Ma, you went too far. You are fully aware of what you did." The live conversation was filled with gasps. With their mutual respect, shared stages, and even a few joint appearances that had fans swooning over the crossover energy, everyone knew Claressa and Remy had been fantastic in the past. However, some noted a change in the weeks before this. Posts will no longer have tags, no remarks on one another's photos. Then followed the mysterious tweets. Remy shared memes about loyalty over everything, and Clarissa posted about fake friends and snakes in the grass. Celebrity drama is fueled by this type of passive-aggressive back and forth. However, Claressa had stopped suggesting. The floodgates opened as she leaned forward, placing her elbows on the table, and declared, "I'm not going to sit here and let her play the victim when she's the one who went behind my back." And whatever those discussions were, they weren't harmless, according to Claressa, who said Remy had been in communication with someone very important to her, not just a friend, but a person she called family in every way that matters. "You went there even though you knew he was my coach and what we had built," Claressa added, her voice breaking just enough to remind everyone that this was a personal betrayal rather than merely an industrial feud. Twitter was ablaze with hypotheses in a matter of seconds. According to some, she was discussing a brand new sponsorship agreement that Remy reportedly stole from Claressa. Others asserted that it involved late-night meetings and private texts, and that it was deeper and more intimate. As Remy's supporters rushed in to defend her, accusing Claressa of clout chasing, the live viewership increased. Claressa, however, refused to give up. "Do you believe that I'm making this up? You believe I lack evidence? Please." She went for her phone, scrolling as if to reveal something, but then paused. "I have receipts so heavy they could knock down a door," she said. Demands erupted in the chat. "Show it now. Send the screen grabs. But all Claressa could do was smile. I'll show them. I see. Not tonight, though. The timing is crucial. Suddenly, she turned into something more sinister. 3 weeks ago, she began recounting a night at a major fight after party in Vegas. She claims that Remy arrived without warning and was already drinking champagne as if she owned the house. She was chatting to her instructor in the corner, laughing, leaning in close, and stroking his arm, according to Claressa. Claressa described the expression in her eyes as like she knew exactly what she was doing and wanted me to see it. In Claressa's opinion, this was more than simply casual mixing. She claimed it was a purposeful conduct intended to agitate her, and it was successful. Claressa acknowledged that she nearly confronted Remy at that moment, but chose to remain silent until she got all the facts. She began digging at that point, speaking with partygoers, reviewing direct messages, and listening for rumors. Her stomach turned at what she discovered, or at least what she claims to have discovered. She alluded to late-night phone conversations, illogical business meetings, and a string of Instagram direct messages that were inexplicably erased from her coach's phone. With a voice as harsh as glass, she stated, "Unless you're hiding something, you don't delete messages." Screen captures of the live event were sent to every possible gossip website by fans. Claressa versus Remy was trending in the top 5 on Twitter within minutes. Claressa then revealed yet another layer. She asserted that Remy had previously pulled a similar stunt. She claimed that at least 2 other women in the field had informally alerted her of Remy's pattern of befriending individuals she viewed as significant assets, whether for personal, professional, or other reasons. Claressa described her as strategic. She engages in long-term strategies. Additionally, I was foolish enough to believe that I was immune. The comments were a battleground by this point. While half of the audience praised Claressa for speaking up, the other half accused her of fabricating a story to get attention. She didn't flinch, though. "Do you think this is for clout?" she asked, staring straight into the lens. "Then you have no idea who I am." She made it public as soon as she entered the party, acting as though I didn't exist, even though I could have handled this behind the scenes. It is now open to the public. Let's see if anyone can take the truth. Claressa then leaned back and said, "Remy Ma, this is just the beginning," with a little smirk that could shatter glass. This remark would be clipped, memed, and analyzed all night long. You're not prepared for what's about to happen. Tens of thousands of spectators were left in startled silence as the live stream unexpectedly terminated. Celebrities began requesting the real tea. Screens glowed as others rushed to submit their thoughts, and both fan bases braced for a full-scale online conflict. However, it was unknown at the time that Claressa wasn't bluffing. Evidence that might completely expose this rivalry was somewhere in her phone, and she was only deciding when to release it. The consequences of Claressa's death were immediate and devastating. In less than an hour, blogs had already assembled highlight reels of her most incisive remarks, complete with slow-motion replays of the moment she said, "You crossed the line." Instagram stories were piled high with thinly veiled criticism from both sides of the celebrity debate. Twitter was a minefield, and TikTok was overflowing with theories, each one more explosive than the last. The proof, however, was the one item that everyone desired. It was Claressa's vow. The clock was now running out of time. Something unexpected occurred in the midst of this craziness. Ma spoke up. It was a single, well-planned Instagram post rather than an entire interview or even a live session. A black square with a barely discernible snake emoji in the corner and no caption. It was pointed enough to start a new wave of upheaval, yet subtle enough to be denied. Her admirers maintained that it was merely a coincidence, but others accused her right once of making fun of Claressa. However, experts hinted that Remy was well aware that what she was doing was bait. Claressa accepted it. She performed live again the following evening, this time to an audience that was 3 times larger. Claressa wasted no time in responding to the harsh comments section, which was a constant barrage of drop IT and receipts now. She claimed that following Remy's little snake stunt, she was done keeping this behind the scenes. Even if she had been considering doing so, the tension stretched like a tight bow as she carefully scrolled through her phone. She began by displaying a screen grab of a late-night text message discussion between Remy and her coach. Inside jokes, wish you were here emails, and a photo of a wine glass next to what appeared to be the exact same couch in Claressa's training room were among the unmistakably intimate messages, even though they were not overt. It exploded in the comment area. The frame was frozen and each pixel was examined. However, Claressa wasn't done yet. These texts, she said, were really the warm-up. Then she talked about an audio recording that someone who used to be in Remy's inner circle had sent her, in which Remy boasted about having influence over Claressa's camp and implied that she could make moves if she wanted. 2. Claressa didn't play the entire tape yet. Took only 3 seconds for her to play a clip. Muffled but clear enough for listeners to hear Remy's voice saying, "Trust me, she won't even see it coming." Social media blew out. Remy's fans labeled it a setup, arguing that the audio was altered or taken out of context, while Claressa supporters regarded it as unmistakable evidence. However, perception is reality in the arena of public opinion, and Claressa was winning that battle, at least for the time being. She continued to add details, relating how she had been negotiating a sponsorship agreement for months, when it unexpectedly fell through shortly after Remy had a private lunch with the CEO of the company. Claressa asserted that she had emails demonstrating that the deal had been rerouted to a Remy-related project. The gut punch followed. Claressa claimed that the betrayal was deeply personal in addition to being professional. She claimed that her coach, whom she trusted with both her profession and her well-being, had been like family. She also described Remy's manipulation of the connection as intrusive, premeditated, and purposeful, comparing it to watching someone walk into your house and rearrange the furniture while you're still living there. Fans were increasingly building armies rather than merely taking sides, with hundreds of individuals analyzing every aspect. Twitter Spaces appeared. Hour-long breakdowns were broadcast on YouTube channels. Even mainstream media began to take notice of the story after realizing it was more than just celebrity rumors, and that it was a cultural clash between two strong women from very different backgrounds. Then Remy took the initiative. Her tone was calm, almost amused, as she went live for the first time since the conflict started. She acknowledged speaking with Claressa's coach. The texts weren't even denied by her. However, she presented it in a different way. She claims that the wine glass shot was taken during a planning meeting and that the discussions were about a charity event she had been organizing. She charged Claressa with fabricating information to support a story. She then replied, "I have my own files if she wants to continue playing this game," with a smirk that could cut through steel. "When everything is on the line, let's see who makes it through." It was obvious that Remy was threatening to reveal her own receipts in addition to defending herself. Just that remark caused a panic attack among Claressa's followers. What on earth? Might Remy possess old pictures? Private correspondence? Is there anything harmful enough to change the course of events? Although Claressa remained composed in public, insiders said she was incensed behind closed doors, closing down her inner circle and calling her team into emergency meetings. The dispute turned into a full-fledged digital Cold War in less than a day. While neither lady was revealing the next big piece of evidence, they were both leaving cryptic hints. For example, Claressa posted a gym selfie with the phrase "pressure makes diamonds" in huge white letters, and Remy posted a throwback photo with the same message. By comparing previous interviews, unearthing old photographs, and even reaching out to people from their pasts for information, fans turned into amateur investigators. Late that Friday night, however, was the true surprise. The whole unedited recording that Claressa had hinted at was purportedly tamed by a gossip blog known for gaining inside information. Their post claims that the person on the audio did more than just allude to treachery. It purportedly detailed a scheme to restructure Claressa's career by cutting her off from specific individuals, which could be seen as sabotage. They transcribed enough of the audio to keep the internet hopping well after midnight, but they didn't upload the entire thing. The public's opinion abruptly turned against Remy. For hours, hashtags accusing her of manipulation became popular. Claressa's supporters proclaimed victory, claiming that the truth had finally come to light. A different blog, however, published what they said were leaked direct messages from Claressa to a third party, almost too precisely timed, implying that she had been looking for a reason to break off her relationship with her coach and that the feud with Remy was just the opening she needed. Those messages were authentic. They presented a completely different picture, one in which Claressa was manipulating the drama for her own ends. They were now accusing each other of launching smear campaigns. Previously silent celebrities began taking sides, and each decision stoked further fury. Even those who weren't interested in hip-hop or boxing were aware of the issue since it had gotten so out of hand. Despite the commotion, both women maintained their uncanny composure in public, waiting for the other to initiate contact. In private, however, the stakes were getting higher. Claressa's team was working on a comprehensive video expose that included witness testimony, timelines, and receipts. According to reports, Remy's camp was creating a digital archive of all the messages, voicemails, and perhaps even videos they had ever sent. Both sides were aware that the next leak may permanently ruin reputations in addition to changing public opinion. One thing became evident as the week came to an end. This was not going to go away icily. Everything would depend on the next shot fired. Which woman, though, would shoot first? It was quiet at the start of the weekend, but it was the type of quiet that hums with expectation, like the quiet before a storm tears the sky to pieces. Both sides' fans were restless, watching every post, like a mysterious tale for clues that something was happening. And then Claressa Shields suddenly stepped forward. This time, she didn't go live. Rather, she uploaded a 10-minute video named simply The Truth on her YouTube page. The thumbnail featured her sitting in a darkened room with her hands clenched, and her eyes staring at the camera with a look that was equal parts sadness and rage. This was a scorched earth moment, and it was immediately apparent that it would not be measured or polite. She started by playing back the little audio snippet that she had hinted at earlier in the week, but this time she left it running for 3 seconds. She let everything play out. Although the tone of the voice, which was obviously Remy's, was informal, the content was anything but. Remy was purportedly overheard on the audio talking about phasing Claressa out of specific possibilities, substituting her with someone who knows how to play the game, and jokingly saying that Claressa was too hot-headed to last. Claressa leaned forward and said, "Tell me that's out of context." As soon as the tape concluded, "That's friendship. Tell me." She then sent screenshots of what she said were texts from Remy's camp attempting to persuade Claressa's coach to explore new partnerships without alerting her. "I dare you," she said. The statement "she doesn't have to know yet, we'll handle it later" was displayed in one screenshot. The video was unrelenting. Claressa outlined a chronology, linking each mysterious tweet, industry rumor, and change within her inner circle to instances in which Remy was purportedly involved. She talked about how she had felt boxed in for the past few months and couldn't trust anyone since she didn't know who had betrayed her. She said that the idea, not simply the deeds, was the betrayal. However, Claressa dropped a bomb that no one saw coming in the midst of her inferno. She disclosed that weeks prior. A third party, someone from Remy's own social circle, had approached her and warned her about a plan in motion to publicly humiliate her. Claressa claims that this individual had been surreptitiously providing her with information, jeopardizing their own standing to ensure she wasn't taken by surprise. Although she would not identify them, the notion that Remy's team had a mole ignited the internet. Speculation broke out within minutes. Remy's recent interactions were examined in an attempt to identify the leaker. Some blamed former partners, some family members, and one crazy suggestion was that it was someone Remy had been seen on vacation with only a few months prior. In just a few hours, the video amassed millions of views and took over trending sections on several platforms. However, Claressa overestimated her opponent if she believed it would stop there. Remy Ma replied less than 24 hours later, using her own weapon instead of words. She shared a collection of unreleased videos, including phone records, blurry clips, and what looked like stills from security cameras. A brief but incriminating video purportedly depicting Claressa and her coach having a furious dispute at a training facility served as the focal point. Claressa's words, "If I have to burn a bridge to make my point, I will," were audible to viewers despite the muffled audio. Remy captioned the video with "just receipts, just receipts." The counterattack was a surgical one. The message was obvious. Claire was a willing participant in the feud from the beginning and not an innocent victim. Supporters were divided. Some claimed the video was taken out of context and showed no evidence. For others, it was evidence that Claressa had been planning her own strategies long before she went public. The conflict on the internet became uglier than before. As hashtag Team Claressa and hashtag Team Remy traded punches, hashtags changed hourly. Celebrities started adopting strong positions. Some supported Claressa's right to voice her mind, while others praised Remy for playing chess, not checkers. Every day, gossip blogs published updates that frequently contradicted one another, but no one seemed to care. This was now about perception and loyalty rather than truth. Then the most surprising turn of events occurred. A Dropbox link purporting to contain the full unedited truth was released late one night by an anonymous account. It went viral and was removed within an hour, but not before thousands of people downloaded it. The contents of the files quickly became legendary. Early leaks claimed that the folder contained damning information about Remy and Claressa, including voicemails, messages, and even pictures that neither party could manipulate to their advantage. It depicted two ladies, engaged in a calculating Cold War, both of whom were prepared to transgress boundaries in order to prevail. The story abruptly changed again. The people were fascinated by this situation, which was one of mutual annihilation rather than hero versus evil. Now, both women's reputations were at risk in ways that went well beyond their ongoing conflict. Lawyers were apparently circling, mutual acquaintances made no comment remarks, and brand deals started to discreetly distance themselves. But both doubled down rather than backing off. It was no longer about who was right. It was about who could outlast the other in the court of public opinion. Claressa shared a picture of herself in the ring with the message, "Still standing." Remy uploaded a picture of her in the studio hours later saying, "Pressure makes hits." Neither party could afford to back down without appearing weak at this point in the feud. One last terrifying rumor that started to circulate while their teams frantically worked behind the scenes was that someone with knowledge of the issue was getting ready to share the real story, which neither Claressa nor Remy wanted to be told on a big talk show. Whether that bombshell is genuine or just another well-planned leak to keep the fire going is unknown. What follows, however, will not merely be another headline. Rather, it will be the pivotal moment in a feud that has already altered the laws of celebrity combat. And there won't be a dispute over who is telling the truth when that chapter comes out. When the smoke clears, the question will be, who survived? Don't assume that what you just heard is the whole story. The next development in this feud could be more significant than anything we've seen thus far. Remy isn't going to back down for a second, and Claressa has stated that she is prepared to bring every last receipt to the table. Who will fire next? And will it be the shot that puts a permanent end to this conflict? Celebrities are taking sides. The internet is divided right now. And both ladies are carrying cards that could endanger their relationship. You also don't want to be the last to know when that last move occurs. That might completely change the course of this story with the next leak, article, or live session. Therefore, you must ensure that you are locked in with us. If you've been watching every incredible minute of this feud, hit the like button. Tell us in the comments below if you're on Team Remy or Team Claressa, and why. I'd like to hear your opinions, hypotheses, and forecasts. The most crucial thing is to subscribe and enable all notifications because we will be the first to break down the next installment of this narrative, including every detail, every response, and every twist that no one else would dare reveal. To you, this is history in the making, not simply drama. Don't merely observe it. When it does, be present.